There's three main hurdles for beginners when you decide to sell on Amazon, from creating a new Amazon seller account and getting it verified, registering your brand with or without a trademark so that you can get brand approval to sell your products, and if you do have a trademark, how you can enroll and take advantage of all the features and benefits of Amazon's brand registry. And then I'll cover a topic that so many beginners get confused about, and that's which barcodes are required, including where to buy them, how many you need to buy, and where you need to put them. So in this masterclass, I'm going to walk you through how to navigate each one of these hurdles so that you can streamline this entire process without running into any hiccups. All right, so first off, obviously, if you want to sell on Amazon, you need to have a verified Amazon seller account. And a lot of beginners have trouble getting their Amazon account verified because they don't follow the proper steps and guidelines. So the first thing you need to do is go to sell.amazon.com. But before you click the sign up button here, you need to make a very important decision first. There's actually two types of selling plans you can choose from. There's an individual selling plan and a professional selling plan. And there's pros and cons to each one. For example, the individual plan is free. There's no monthly fee. However, you don't get access to a bunch of advanced selling features such as being able to create promotions and coupons, use the pay-per-click advertising system, or even business, sales, and inventory reports. However, although there's no monthly fee with the individual plan, you do have to pay a 99-cent fee each time you make a sale, as you can see here. Now, with the professional plan, there is a monthly fee of $39.99 per month, but there's some caveats here. First, you get access to all of the advanced features. You don't have to pay a fee each time you make a sale, and what most people don't know is that if you're just starting out and you don't actually have anything to sell yet, or you're not ready to sell anything yet, Amazon won't charge you the monthly fee until you actually start selling. What happens is if you sign up with the professional plan, Amazon will charge you $39.99 for the first month as soon as you register, but you won't get charged again until you actually start selling. So that's a huge benefit since you'll be able to get started with access to all of the features and learn the system before you start selling. So unless you're on a really tight budget, I suggest just registering your new seller account with the professional selling plan right away. You can do that by clicking on the sign up button here. You can see that by clicking here, it will charge you $39.99 a month. However, if you do want to start with the individual plan, do not click here. You'll have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and click this link here. Sign up and become an individual seller. But don't worry, regardless of which option you choose when you initially sign up, you can change the selling plan anytime later and as often as you want. And I do want to point out that you don't need to have a registered business to start selling on Amazon. In fact, you can just sign up using your social security number and start selling. And if you decide to register a business in the future, you can always update your account information at that time. And pretty much anyone can sell on Amazon from anywhere in the world. You don't have to live in any specific country or location. However, there are some restrictions, and if you do happen to live in one of the restricted countries, then you'll have to jump through some hoops if you want to sell on Amazon. I'll post a link down in the description below to the approved countries if you want to take a look. All right, so let's click on sign up. Now, before moving forward, there are several steps to the new seller account registration process, and each step has some gotchas. Mistakes that people make that can get your account denied or blacklisted if you don't do it right. So pay close attention. On this first step, you can see there are two options for you to choose from. And here's where people make their first mistake. If you already have an existing Amazon account, such as one that you buy stuff on Amazon with and you want to use that same account for your new seller account, you'll need to log in with that account email and password here. Or if you've already started registering a seller account that you left unfinished or in limbo, you also need to log in with that account here. Do not try to create a new account. You can't have multiple seller accounts, so you'll create a huge problem for yourself trying to sort out the multiple account problem you've created. Now, if you don't want to use the same Amazon account that you buy stuff with, or you've never tried to create a seller account in the past, then go ahead and click on the Create Your New Account button here. I'm pretty sure most of us already have a buyer account, so what I actually suggest is create a new separate seller account. This will keep your personal activity separate from your business and make your bookkeeping a lot easier. Trust me, when I first started selling on Amazon, I originally signed up using my buyer account, and that just made things way more complicated, so I ended up closing that account and creating a separate seller account. You can do that by just using a different email address. But be aware, you can't just create a second account while you have an existing seller account, whether approved or not. According to Amazon's policies, In general, you're only allowed to have one seller account per marketplace, and if you violate this policy, Amazon will close all of the accounts. So in my case, I had to close the first seller account that I had created before I could create the new account using a different email address so that I can keep my personal account information separate from my seller account. All right, so let's create a new account. Now, pro tip to help avoid getting hung up and speed up the whole verification process, if you can, try avoid using a Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, or any other free email address. Too many scammers and bad actors try to create seller accounts with those emails. Ideally, you should be using an email address from your own domain. For example, if your business is Cutest Cats and you own the domain cutestcats.com, then you should be using an email address from that domain, like crescent@cutestcats.com. Okay, so enter your name, email, and the password that you want to use. Click submit. And you'll have to verify your email address, so go ahead and get the one-time password that was emailed to you and enter it here. All right, you can see that you'll have to provide some information and documentation. Amazon will verify your submission, and then once verified, you'll be able to start selling. And you can see here, you'll need all of this information to complete this registration process. You'll need a valid government-issued ID or passport, a recent bank account or credit card statement, a chargeable credit card or debit card, and a mobile phone. And I'll get into the specifics of what you'll need when we get to each one in the next few steps. All right, so let's begin. On this page, you'll have to provide some information about your business. In this field, business location, this is the country where you registered your business. As I said earlier, you can pretty much sell from anywhere around the world, so choose your country from the list. And as you can see here, if you don't have a business, choose the country where you live. Now, since most of you watching this are going to be in the US, let's choose US. Now, business type. There are several options you can choose from here, but the two that most of us are going to choose is going to be either privately owned or none, I'm an individual. If you registered a business, whether a sole proprietorship or an LLC, you'll want to choose privately owned. If you didn't register a business and you're just going to sell using your social security number, then choose none, I'm an individual. And one thing I want to point out here is that choosing individual here has nothing to do with the individual seller plan. They are completely separate options and have nothing to do with each other. One is the Amazon seller plan, whether you're paying a monthly fee or not, and the other is your business type. Choosing one doesn't mean you have to choose the other. I see a lot of people getting confused over this. Now, deciding whether or not to register a business is beyond the scope of this video, but in a nutshell, a registered business such as an LLC will give you tax advantages as well as liability protection, meaning if someone were to sue you for damages due to your service or products, they can't go after your personal assets such as your home or your car. However, if you conduct business as an individual or a sole proprietor, you don't have liability protection. It's also typically much more expensive to register an LLC versus a sole prop. The fees vary by state, so check on your state's government website to find out what those costs are. Or if you need help or want someone to help register the business for you, you can always hire a service like LegalZoom. All right, now since I have a registered business, I'm going to choose privately owned. Then enter your business name here. And make sure you type this in correctly. Then check on, I confirm this information is correct and that this information cannot be changed later. Then click on Agree and Continue. Okay. Now you can see that we're on the first step out of 5. Here you'll need to enter some more information about your business. The first field is your business name. It's already filled in from the previous screen. Again, make sure this matches the business name you actually registered with your state. The next field is the company registration number. You can typically find this number on your business license, but it might not be called the registration number. So find that number and enter it here. If you don't have a registered business, just leave this blank. Now, enter your business's address here. If you registered a business, make sure this matches your actual address that you registered with. This isn't your home address unless you don't have a registered business, then put your home address here. Now, if you haven't verified a phone number yet, you'll have to enter your phone number here and how you want to have it verified. You can use your mobile phone number here, but you don't have to. You can actually use a Google Voice number if you want, but I suggest using your mobile number just to make things easier and more convenient for you moving forward. Okay, so once you've verified your number, click on Next. And now we've completed step 1, so we're on to step 2. Here's where you need to enter your personal information. All of these fields should be pretty self-explanatory, so just fill them in. One thing to note, do not try to use fake information. Your account will get declined, and any future accounts that you try to create will most likely get blacklisted. Okay, so once you've filled in your information, you'll need to choose how you want to prove your identity. You can see in the drop-down menu that you can choose from several options. You can choose to use a permanent resident certificate, a driver's license, or a passport. So choose the one that's most convenient for you and enter the details here. And here's the next mistake people make. The ID must have your name exactly as you entered it, and it cannot be expired. You can see here in the guidelines that it must be a valid, active ID. And I'll go over the rest of these requirements in the guideline in the next few steps. Okay, and now you need to check which of these boxes apply to you here. If you're the owner or a part owner of the business, check this box. If you're creating this seller account on behalf of someone else, then check this box. In most cases, you're creating this for yourself, so only check the top one. Now, if you're the sole owner of the business, then choose yes here. If you have partners and you want to enter their details, you'll need to choose no here. Then lastly, check this box to agree to this statement here, then click next. All right, we've now completed step 2. And as you can see here, you need to provide information for your bank and credit card. And here's where people make another common mistake. You can see here that it requires you to have matching names on the bank account with whatever you submitted in the previous 2 steps. So if the bank account you're trying to use is under your parent's name, a partner or friend's name, or some other business altogether, it's not going to work. Open a new account under your name or get your name added to the bank account that you want to use. Once you have that information, you'll need to have a recent bank statement and a credit or debit card, as you can see here. Now click continue. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to do is enter your bank account details here. So choose the country where your bank is, and if you're banking at one of the larger institutions, you should be able to find it on this list here. Otherwise, scroll down to the bottom and choose Other. Now, I bank at a local credit union, so it's not on this list, so I'm going to choose Other. And then type in the bank's name here. Now, enter your bank's routing number and your account number. You can usually Google your bank's routing number, or if you have a check handy, it's the first set of numbers on the bottom of the check. Your account number is the second set of numbers. Then click on Verify. Okay, so since I don't bank at one of the major banks, I'm getting this message here letting me know that my bank doesn't do instant verifications, so I have to upload a bank statement to verify my bank account. You won't see this message if you bank at one of the larger institutions. Okay, click on Continue. All right, now here's where you need to provide a credit card or a debit card. And this is how Amazon is going to charge you each month for the professional selling plan, as well as if you owe them any money while you're using their selling services. Again, if you change your mind in the future, you can downgrade to the individual plan at any time that you want. In fact, you can upgrade and downgrade whenever you want. Now, here's where a lot of people make another mistake. Typically, you can't use a debit card unless it has a Visa or MasterCard logo on it. These are debit cards that can be accepted and charged as a credit card. If your debit card doesn't have a Visa or MasterCard logo on it, then contact your bank and ask them if your card can be used and charged as a credit card when you make your purchases. If not, you'll need to get a debit card from them that can. If you can't get a credit or a debit card from your bank, an excellent solution is to sign up on wise.com and get yourself a virtual bank account and credit card that you can use on your Amazon seller account. Wise is actually one of Amazon's officially accepted payment partners. Basically, if you don't live in a country that Amazon allows for disbursements, you don't have access to a bank account that Amazon will accept, or you can't get a credit or debit card that Amazon accepts, you can sign up on Wise and you'll be able to open a bank account that you can use on Amazon to accept disbursements or payments from Amazon for the sales that you've made. And you can also get a debit card from Wise that you can use on Amazon here. And I'll leave a link in the description below that you can use to sign up with Wise, or just visit wise/CrescentKO. Okay, so enter your credit or debit card information here. Click on Next. Okay, we're almost done. On step 4, you need to enter your store details. This is a store name that you want to use on Amazon. In my opinion, it should match your business name, but it doesn't have to. If you didn't register a business, that's okay. Just choose a store name that you want to use. If you choose a name that's already in use, you'll get an error message, so just pick another one. And don't worry, you can change the store name later if you're not happy with it. Now, the first option here is asking you if you have UPC barcodes. You should be familiar with these barcodes. It's what a checker scans when you buy something at a store. So if you plan to sell wholesale or arbitrage products, those products are already going to have a UPC barcode on them. If you plan to sell private label products, you're going to have to buy UPC barcodes for them. So essentially, regardless of how you plan to sell on Amazon, choose yes here. But don't worry, official GS1 barcodes only cost $30 each, and you only need one barcode for each private label product that you're selling. I'll go into more detail about barcodes, exactly which barcodes you need and how many you need to buy in the next section. So for now, just choose yes here. And just a pro tip here, I actually highly suggest beginners start with private label products and do not do wholesale or arbitrage. The competition is way too high and the profit margins are way too small. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to learn exactly why I recommend doing private label and how to get started selling on Amazon. Now, if you're enrolled in any diversity programs, you can select yes here. If you qualify, you can have your products featured and highlighted in the marketplace. Otherwise, choose no. And lastly, do you own a brand? If you plan to sell private label products, you want to choose yes here since you'll be selling products under your own brand. If you're not sure, then just choose some of them for now. Since I do private label, I'm going to choose yes. And now you can see it popped up another option here asking if I own a registered trademark. If you do, choose yes. Otherwise, choose no. And it's okay if you don't have a registered trademark. You can still sell on Amazon using your own brand and logo. You just won't be able to enroll in brand registry and get access to more advanced marketing features like A+ content. You need to have a registered trademark to enroll in brand registry. All right, and now we're on the final step, step 5. Here's where you verify the information that you entered on the previous steps. But pay close attention because there's still several places where you can make a mistake that will delay the entire verification process or get you blacklisted from selling on Amazon. Now, if everything looks right, you'll need to upload documents that it's asking for here. So in my case, I need to upload the front and back of my driver's license, as well as a copy of my bank statement or credit card statement. And remember, I said people make mistakes on every step that can get them denied or held up in the verification process. Well, here's where you can make a huge mistake that will get you stuck in limbo. When you upload these documents, you have to make 100% sure that you follow these guidelines I mentioned earlier. I can't stress this enough. If you do not follow these guidelines to a T, your new seller account application will get denied and you'll get canned responses that don't help you figure out why. Most of the time, it's because of this last step here. So let's go over these requirements. First, you can see here that Amazon will accept the following IDs: passport, passport card, national ID card, driver's license, enhanced driving license, citizenship card, permanent residency card, health card, or military identification card. The ID also needs to meet these following requirements. It must be a government-issued photo identity document, which is recognized and issued by the country where you are a citizen or resident. It must show your first and last name. This name must match the name entered under primary contact person information. Again, everything you entered needs to match the information that's on the ID 100%. It must include the date of birth. The date must be the exact match as we do not accept typos. And the ID holder must be 18 years or older. It must show the unique ID number, again with no mistakes. It must have an expiration date, if applicable. And again, the ID cannot be an expired one. And take note, it also says here, if your document does not have an expiry date, you can enter a dummy date of 3 months from the date of registration. It also must have the bearer's signature, if applicable. And it also says here, note, certain passports have signatures on one of the initial pages or one of the last pages. So make sure to include that page. You also must provide both sides of the ID if there's any vital information on the back side, like the signature, the date of expiration, date of birth, or barcodes. And also note, if this upload page does not ask for separate front and back image uploads, you need to make sure to merge the images into one file and then upload it. So in those cases, you can use a free online tool or Photoshop to merge the photos or scans into one single file. And last, and people miss this part all the time, the documents you submit must be in color. Okay, so that's for verifying your identity. To verify your address, you can see here that Amazon will accept bank statements, including your current account, savings account or loan account statement, credit card statements, or account statements provided by an e-commerce payment service provider such as Payoneer, Hyperwallet, WorldFirst, and Alipay. And it says here that the documents need to meet the following criteria. It must be issued within the last 180 days and show the issuing date, due date, or transaction dates. It also must have the financial institution's details to show at least one of the following details: the bank's name, bank stamp, bank signature, or bank logo, and it must have the name and address of the account holder. So again, if your name or business name isn't on the account or the address is different than the one you submitted, then you can't use that account. So either have your name added to the account or the address updated to match so that they appear correctly on the statement, or open a new account under your name and address. Okay, and there's more. So many people get their application rejected simply because they didn't follow these additional guidelines. You can see here that it says, in order to ensure your documents are not rejected, make sure that they meet these following requirements. It must be valid, not expired, revoked, inactive, or closed. This is very important, okay? It must be high resolution and unobstructed. It must be complete and not cut off from any sides. It must be a scanned image or a photo of the original document taken from your mobile phone. Display the full document front and back if applicable. The file must be less than 50 megabytes in size. And the file must be in one of these following formats, and do not include any special characters in the file name. And it must be authentic and unaltered. It must not be password protected, and it must be in one of these supported languages. Okay, once you've uploaded the documents, click on Next. And now we need to choose from one of these following two options to complete the identity check. You can either upload a photo of yourself, which is the quickest method, or you can request a call from an Amazon agent and do a video call. As you can see here, this option can take much longer due to high volume, so I suggest taking a photo. Click Next. Click the checkbox to consent to having your photo taken and processed, and then click Start. Choose the country of the ID that you want to use. Now choose the type of ID you're using, and in my case, I'm going to use my driver's license. Then follow the on-screen instructions to take a photo of the front and back of your ID. Now you'll have to take a photo of your face, so follow the on-screen instructions. And once you've done that, you're done. Click Close and you'll see the final application summary page here. You can see here that it says they may reach out to you if they require more information within 2 business days. Now lastly, here's where a lot of people make another mistake. This verification process can take time. Like I said at the beginning of the video, my account got verified within 48 hours, but it can take much longer. Sometimes it can take a few days or even weeks, so you need to be patient here. Do not pester them with constant emails or questions. That's why it's important to start this process early so that you're not waiting around for your account to get approved in order to start selling. And also take note, if you scroll down, you can see that in my case, Amazon is also requiring an address verification. This is where they'll mail a card to your address that has a code on it. And once you receive this code, you'll need to enter it here to verify your address. Again, this process can take weeks, even though that you can see here that it says it will be delivered by May 11th. I've seen this card take several weeks to over a month to receive, so again, you need to be patient here. Now, once you've completed these last steps and your account is verified, some people still end up getting their account shut down. And this is typically because as soon as they get verified, they go into their account settings and start changing their bank account info or their credit card details. Don't do that. Changing those details is a red flag that you might be a scammer. If you do need to update that info for some reason, wait at least a month before you start changing it. And along those same lines, if you need to update your account type, such as change it from an individual to a registered business, or change your business details, you will trigger the verification process again, and you'll have to go through the whole verification process to get re-verified with the new business details. All right, and now once you have a verified seller account, you can add your first product to the Amazon Marketplace to start selling on Amazon. So you can log into your new Amazon seller account, and on the home page, you can click on the Add Products link here, or you can click on the menu at the top, click on Catalog, Add Products. You'll then end up on the List Your Products page. But before we move on, I want to go over how listing products on Amazon works. It's not quite like listing products on other platforms like eBay or any other e-commerce platform, where they put the seller first. On those platforms, Each seller creates their own listing to sell whatever item that they have for sale. So for example, if you want to buy an Xbox, you're going to find hundreds of listings of Xboxes for sale. Whereas on Amazon, their platform is product first. So instead of seeing hundreds of Xbox listings, you see one for new consoles and another here for renewed. Everyone selling the same product adds their items to one listing and competes for sales on that same listing. So with that in mind, when you go to add your products to Amazon, you need to ask yourself, am I selling something that's already being sold on Amazon? Such as if you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, it most likely is. So you'll need to add your products to the existing product listing that's already on Amazon. Otherwise, if you're doing private label, where you're the manufacturer and you're selling your own unique branded product, then you'll have to create a new product listing. Now, both options have similar steps, but creating a new product listing is definitely more complicated. So what I'm gonna do is start with creating a new product listing first. And that way, most of the steps that you'll see will already be covered for adding a product to an existing listing. All right, and back on the List Your Products page, you can see that you have several options here to choose from, which I'll cover later. But since we're going to create a new product listing for a product that's not currently sold on Amazon, we're gonna choose the blank form option here. But before we click start, remember at the beginning of the video, I warned you about getting stuck with products that you can't sell? Take notice down here, it says, products requiring approval and compliance references. You can't sell whatever you want on Amazon, and some products need to meet specific government compliance requirements in order for you to sell them on Amazon. Just because you see other people selling the product on Amazon doesn't mean you can, and I'll go over these two issues in the next few steps. All right, let's click on Start. Now, the first field here is the item name, and if you hover your mouse over the question mark, you can see that this field is the product title. This is the title of every listing that you see in the Amazon Marketplace, as you can see here. Now, the final version of your title needs to be keyword optimized using properly researched keywords. Keywords that are relevant and accurately describe your product. Amazon doesn't know what you're selling, so you need to accurately describe what it is here so your listing will show up in the search results. And it's very important that you do this properly so that the Amazon search algorithm can index your listing in order to get you more sales by showing your listing on the first page of the search results. And it's crucial that your listing appears on the first page. Over 70% of all online sales happens on the first page. So not doing this properly will dramatically affect your sales and Amazon success. Now, I'll go over how all of this works later on in the video, but if you're just getting started and you're creating your product listing to see if you're allowed to sell this product, or if there's any potential problems with selling this product, then you can just enter a title that generically describes what you're selling. So for example, here's a product that I'm working on, the screw-in camping tent stakes. And on this listing, you can see that it has a fully keyword optimized title. Now I can just copy this title and paste it here, or I can just type in camping tent stakes for now. You can always change and edit this later. Okay, and once you've done that, in the product type field, it's gonna automatically choose the category that it believes your product falls under. If it's not the correct category, you can click on Select Other and choose the correct one from the list. If you're not sure, just pick the closest one, or you can check on a competitor's listing by scrolling down on the product detail page and see which category they're using. Once you've done that, click Confirm. All right, and now here's where we're gonna enter all of the details and information that's related to our product. You can see at the top here that we're on the first step of 5, product identity. And as you can see, the first 3 fields are already filled in since we already entered those details in the previous step. If you made a mistake, you can always click on Edit to change the product type or choose a different category from the drop-down menu here. And in the variations option, select this option if you're selling products with different colors or sizes, for example. But in my case, I'm not. I only have one version, so I'm gonna leave this unchecked. Now in the brand name field, this is very important, so pay attention. You don't wanna get this wrong because it can create a bunch of problems and you won't be able to change it later. Now, if you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, you're gonna enter whatever you're selling's brand name here. So if you're selling Xboxes, you would put Microsoft here. And I'll go over this in more detail when we talk about adding your product to an existing listing later on in the video. But for now, if you're doing private label, you would put your own brand name here. The thing is, if this is your first product that you're selling on Amazon and you're using your brand name for the very first time, you'll need to go through a brand approval process. And there's two ways to get brand approval. If you've registered your brand as a trademark, then you can get your brand approved through Brand Registry. But if you don't have a trademark, then you can go through the standard brand approval process. Registering a trademark actually has a ton of advantages, such as getting access to Brand Registry, A+ content, the Vine program to help you get your initial product reviews, and a ton more. So I highly suggest that you go that route. All right, and in the next section, I'll explain exactly how you can get your brand approved. I'll show you how you can get brand approval even if you don't have a registered trademark, and then I'll show you how you can enroll in Amazon's brand registry if you do have a trademark. Now, if for whatever reason you don't want to go through the brand approval process, then you can checkmark this option here. This product does not have a brand name. However, if you choose this option, your product will be listed as generic, and I highly discourage you from doing that. You always want to build a brand, and if you list your item as generic now and you decide to build a brand later, you won't be able to change it to your brand later. You'd have to start all over and create an entirely new product listing and lose all of your sales history and reviews. Okay, and moving on to the external product ID. This is the unique identifier for your product, and so many beginners screw this part up. Every product sold around the world has a barcode on it, and this barcode is called the UPC barcode. UPC stands for Universal Product Code, and this is what is scanned when you check out every time you go to a store like Costco or Walmart. And the UPC barcode is unique for each product. No two products have the same barcode. So again, if you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, there is going to be a UPC barcode already on the product, so you can enter that here. However, if you're doing private label, you're manufacturing your own products or buying generic products from a supplier, so they're not going to have a UPC barcode on them. So you'll need to buy one. But here's the thing. You need to buy your UPC barcodes directly from the GS1 website. Don't do what I see so many beginners do, and that's buying them from third-party websites to save some money. It's not worth the trouble and the risk. Official GS1 barcodes are only $30 each, and you only need to buy one. The one barcode represents and identifies this camping tent stake, no matter how many units I'm selling. Now, I also see people trying to save some money by choosing this option here. I don't have a product ID and applying for what's called a GTIN exemption. I highly discourage you from doing that also because a GTIN exemption creates a whole bunch of problems and hassle for you. One of which is the GTIN exemption expires every 6 months, so you constantly need to renew them. Okay, so once you've purchased your UPC barcode from GS1, you can copy the UPC barcode and paste it here. When you buy your GS1 barcode, you also get the EAN version and the image versions of both barcodes as well. Choose UPC EAN from the drop-down menu and click Next. And now we're on step 2, description. The first field is the product description. This is the paragraph that appears on each product detail page, like you can see here. This is where you want to provide more information about your product, such as the features and benefits and why your product is superior to your competitors. And again, you need to also do keyword research and include the best keywords here to help you generate more sales and improve your listing rank. There's actually powerful tools to help you do this. And the tool that I use and recommend is Magnet from Helium 10. By entering a seed keyword, Magnet will pull up all of the most relevant keywords for you, like you can see here. And another powerful tool, Cerebro, will actually steal all of your competitors' keywords. If you enter some of the top sellers into Cerebro, you can find all the best keywords they're ranking for and use them in your own listing. How powerful is that? All the fields that are highlighted in red or have an asterisk next to it are required, so in the meantime, you can just enter something random or generic. If you want to add more than one paragraph, you can click on Add More here. Next here is the bullet points. The bullet points is the section you see at the top of the product listing here. You can add up to 5 bullet points, so if you want to add more than just one, which I highly recommend using all 5, click Add More here. What you want to do for your bullet points is really put some thought into choosing the best 5 key benefits for your product. How is your product uniquely solving a problem that the buyer has? What is your product's competitive advantage? Don't just put something generic that doesn't help sell your product. I see a lot of sellers just putting some generic product features that all the other sellers are saying. Don't do that. Basically, a test that I use is if I can take my bullet points and place them onto a competitor's listing and they apply for their product, then that's a bad bullet point. And just like in the title, you also want to include the best keywords here. Okay, now the images section here. Here's where you're going to upload your product photos. Now, I can't stress enough how important it is to get professional photos taken. Just because you have a nice camera or you know a friend that has one doesn't mean they are experienced product photographers. The quality of your photos alone can determine the success of your product. And professional photos aren't that expensive and typically cost around $75 to $300 range depending on what you want done, and it'll pay off in the end if done correctly. You can find really good photographers on Fiverr.com or even look for one locally. But the thing is, everyone has high quality photos nowadays, so you need to go the extra mile. Your photos need to tell a story. Shoppers are going to primarily make their buying decision based on your photos. Think about your own buying habits. When you're shopping online, what's the first thing that you look at? Everyone looks at the photos first, and if you don't see what you like, you move on to another product. Your photos need to highlight the key benefits and features of your product and what your competitive advantages are so shoppers can see why they should buy your product over your competitors. So really put some thought into it, especially the main photo, since that's the photo that appears in the search results. The main photo needs to be attractive and capture shoppers' attention. Otherwise, your listing will just get lost in the sea of competitors. What I do is I do a search for my product and scan through the listings that show up in the first page and see which listings catch my eye. Figure out why those particular listings caught your attention. Is it the layout, the colors? Use those listings as inspiration. Now, if you don't have professional photos yet to upload, you can always upload a temporary photo for now. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a photo of the product you're selling. You just need to upload at least one image in order to continue on or for the listing to go live once you have inventory. But be aware though that if you decide not to take your own photos, that you don't inadvertently use someone else's photos. That means be careful using some random photo on Google. It might be copyrighted. And don't steal a photo from a competitor. Use common sense. Violating someone's intellectual property is a serious offense, and you can have your listing shut down, your selling privileges revoked, or worse, you can actually get sued. So don't use copyrighted material on your listing. And also take note, the photos you upload need to meet Amazon's image requirements. For example, images must be 500 pixels to 10,000 pixels on their longest side. Images must be in JPEG, TIFF, PNG, or non-animated GIF formats, and they must be clear, unpixelated, and have no jagged edges. The main image must accurately represent the product as a realistic, professional quality image and not be a placeholder. Have a pure white background. Show the product as 85% of the image. Not have text, logos, borders, color blocks, watermarks, or other graphics covering the product or in the background. And all of these requirements here and down here. Make sure you follow these guidelines, otherwise your listing will be suppressed until you resolve the issues. Now, click on product details. Okay, so from this point forward, some of the fields that you see on the next few steps may be different than the ones you're seeing when you create your own listing. The fields and field names can vary depending on the product you're selling and the category that it's in. All right, the first option here is customizations. If you hover your mouse over the question mark, we can see that this option is if you're selling a product where the buyer can create personalized and configurable products by offering buyers the ability to add text, upload an image, or select from a set of options, available for seller-fulfilled products only. Now, most of us aren't doing that, so choose no. Okay, and now the model number and model name fields. These are for your own bookkeeping purposes, so you can just make something up to help you keep track of the product. I recommend using something descriptive that describes the product. For example, for the model number, tent stake, 12-inch, orange. That way, as your product line grows, you can identify what each item is by the model number. If you have different sizes, you can always add LG or SM to the end of it or something. Just use whatever method works for you. And for the model name, I just put whatever the product is. Screw in tent stake. If you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, then the manufacturer will already have a model number and a model name. It's usually on the box or on the product itself somewhere, so enter them here. And in the manufacturer field, if you're doing private label, you're the manufacturer, so put your brand name here. Otherwise, if you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, put the product's brand name here. And now in the style and materials field, you can see that they're not required, but I suggest entering something here to help with the search algorithm if it applies to your product. In my case, style doesn't apply, but in the material field, I'm going to enter stainless steel. If there's more, you can click on add more here. Color, well, that's pretty obvious. Enter the color here. Number of pieces. This is how many items the buyer will get when they purchase one unit from you. So in my case, They're getting a pack of 15 tent stakes in one unit or box, so I put 15 here. You can see that it says, enter the number of pieces within the unit being sold. For the part number, I just copy the model number. And now down here in the item dimensions, you're going to enter the size of the product itself, not the package. So for example, my pack of 15 tent stakes comes in a box, but each tent stake is only 12 inches by 4.5 inches. Now a pro tip, you can see on the side here it says it's displaying the recommended attributes right now. If you click on all, you can see that a few more fields popped up. Again, this can vary depending on what you're selling. In my case, you can see that this unit count section popped up. It's not required, but you can fill it in if you want. In this case, these fields aren't going to help with generating sales, but depending on what you're selling, some fields may appear that do, so you want to fill them in. So always take a look at all the available fields. So in my case, the unit count section doesn't apply, so I'm not going to fill it in. You can see it says this is for products that are consumed by volume, weight, or linear dimension. Okay, now in the next step, offer. In this step, you're going to enter all the details on how you plan to sell the product. In the first field, enter the SKU. This is the stock keeping unit. Again, this is for your own bookkeeping purposes, so if you're tracking your products by SKU, then enter it here. You can make one up if you don't already have one. You can just keep it simple and use the same thing as the model number from the previous step if you want, but this field isn't required. Quantity is how many units you have available for sale. So if I have 1,000 units to sell, then enter 1,000 here. Your price is the price you want to sell the item for on Amazon. This is the price the buyer is going to pay. Offering condition type. This is almost always going to be new unless you're selling books or other products where you're reselling used items. So choose new. List price. This is the suggested retail price from the manufacturer. So if you're selling wholesale or arbitrage products, this is what the manufacturer suggests it should be priced at. Now, if you're doing private label, you can make up the price here. I suggest setting this to the highest price you can ever imagine selling the product for. It's important that you set this at the highest price because it can affect the buy box. That's the buy button on your product detail page. And it can also affect whether or not these price badges show up or not, like these limited time deal or the strike through pricing like you can see here. Now, if each time you make a sale, you plan to fulfill the order yourself, choose I will ship this item myself. Otherwise, if you plan to use FBA, which stands for Fulfillment by Amazon, then choose Amazon will ship and provide customer service. Now, I highly recommend using the FBA option, and that's because by using FBA, Amazon will handle all of the order fulfillment for you. Each time you make a sale, Amazon will take care of the picking and packing, labeling, shipping and handling, returns and refunds, and even all of the customer service. All you have to do is ship your inventory to Amazon's fulfillment warehouses. And sellers who use FBA will have the Amazon Prime badge on their listing. This is the Prime logo you see on these listings here. This is where Amazon Prime members can get Amazon's free 1 and 2 day shipping. Sellers who use FBA generate far more sales than those who don't because shoppers want their purchases faster and get free shipping. Okay, and now in the item package dimensions, enter the size and weight of the product package. So this isn't the size of the item itself like we entered in the previous step. This is the size and weight of the package the item comes in. If you're doing private label, you might not physically have a product on hand to measure and weigh it, so you can ask your supplier for this information. Okay, and now scroll up to the top and remember to check all of the attributes. And here's where a lot of beginners make a huge mistake. There's several hidden options here that can drastically improve your sales. Notice there's now a sale price field. If you want to offer your product at a lower price, you can use the sale price and set a date range for when the sale happens. When you set a sale price, your listing will get this limited time deal badge and the your price will be struck out like you can see here. These are great attention grabbers, especially during a product launch to help you gain traction. For example, you can set the actual price that you want to sell the product for here in the sale price field and set the your price higher or match it to your list price. And a pro tip, if for whatever reason your product listing won't be ready when your inventory arrives at Amazon, such as your photos aren't ready or whatever, set the offer release date to sometime in the future to postpone your listing going live. And when you're ready to go live, set the offering release date to today's date. That way your product won't appear in the marketplace with a poor quality listing and trigger the start of the honeymoon period. The honeymoon period is when Amazon helps boost your listing in the search results to help generate your initial sales. And typically it only lasts around 15 to 30 days, so you don't want to waste it. Now notice this gift wrapped option also appeared. I suggest always turning it on. This gives buyers the option to send your product as a gift and can improve your sales, especially if your product is something people would give as a gift. And always set the max order quantity option to something other than 0. This is a huge mistake that I see so many beginners make. Leaving it at 0 means someone can buy as many units from you as they want. Now you might be thinking, that would be a great thing. Why would I want to stop someone from doing that? Well, the problem is, I've seen this happen way too many times where a beginner would create a promotion, coupon, or a sale, and they don't set it up correctly where the buyer can only use the discount one time for one item. And a buyer would come along and use that coupon and wipe out a seller's entire inventory for pennies. So don't let this happen to you. Make sure you set this to something other than 0. And once you've done that, let's move on to the last step, safety and compliance. Okay, I'm going to mention it again. Depending on what you're selling or the category that your product is in, you're going to have different required fields here. In my case, you can see that these fields are required. In the country of origin, put where your product is manufactured or purchased. In my case, they're made in China, and it doesn't require any batteries. If your product is considered dangerous goods, you'll need to choose the applicable options here and provide additional information and documentation. If there's more than one, you can add them here by clicking Add More. Then in the last field here, if your product needs to meet any government regulations, such as California's CARB compliance, or you might see something different if you're selling a different product, you can select it here. In my case, it's not applicable. But be aware, just because you choose not applicable doesn't mean you can bypass any requirements if they are in fact required for your product. And I'll go over that in a minute when I talk about the product compliance requirements. Now again, it doesn't hurt to take a look at the hidden attributes. If there's anything there that you feel you need to enter, you can do so, but they're not required. And once you're done with this step, you can click on Submit. And that's it. You can always come back and edit your listing anytime and as often as you want. Just click on the menu, Inventory, Manage All Inventory, and click on the Edit Listing option here. Now, if there's one thing you're going to get out of this video, it's this next part, so pay close attention. Just because you completed the steps to add your product on Amazon and you didn't see any errors, it doesn't mean everything is fine and dandy. Like I mentioned earlier, if there are any restrictions or compliance requirements, you will still need to address them. Amazon's system may not have caught it right away, but it will. And when it does, you will have to go through the product approval process or provide compliance documentation before you can sell the product on Amazon. So let's talk about that now. First, Amazon has a list of prohibited products. These are products that you absolutely cannot sell on Amazon. You can see a list of them here. Also, Amazon has products and categories that require approval ahead of time in order to sell them. This is what's called gated categories. In order to sell products in these categories, you need to get ungated first. You can see a list of categories here and if they are gated or not. And just because the main category isn't gated, there might be subcategories that are. Getting ungated isn't difficult. For some categories, all you need to do is fill out a form and answer some questions and you'll get instant approval. Whereas others, you may need to submit some documentation and invoices. I'll leave a link to these pages in the description below. Now, compliance is the bigger issue. For safety, some products may also require certifications and testing like certain electronics, food, beauty supplies, toys, and baby-related products. You won't be able to sell these products without providing the proper paperwork and certifications. Usually, your supplier or manufacturer will have these certifications and test results, but if they don't, it can end up being cost prohibitive if you have to get the product tested and certified at a testing lab. So it's crucial that you find out if the product you plan to sell has any of these requirements, and if so, that you're able to get them. Thankfully, Amazon has a new compliance tool that can help you determine if there are any certifications that are required. So back on the List Your Product page, click on the Compliance Self-Assessment link here. Notice this disclaimer. If you supply products for sale on Amazon, you must comply with all applicable laws and Amazon policies for each of those products and product listings. The information on this page is provided as an informational resource only, and the user is ultimately responsible for confirming the accuracy of the information before submission. Okay, so down here, do a search for the product that you plan to sell, and the tool will show you if there are any required documentation or certifications that you'll need to provide. For example, let's say you plan on selling these outdoor LED lights. Seems pretty innocuous, right? Well, let's take a look here. You can see here, String lights is the top result, and if we click on it, you can see that this product is regulated under UL 588. And in order to sell these products on Amazon, you need to provide the following documents: test reports from an ISO 17025 accredited laboratory that show that the product complies with the regulations, standards, and requirements listed above. And make sure you click on the Dangerous Goods Compliance tab here. If the string lights have a battery, for example, you'll also need to provide all of these requirements listed here. Do you see what I mean? If you plan to sell this product and you're buying them from China or having them made by some fly-by-night manufacturer where they can't provide these test results, or the product simply doesn't comply with the UL 588 standard, then you'll end up with products that you can't sell on Amazon. And there's one more issue that can stop you from selling your product on Amazon, which I'll show you in the next step here. All right, now, what if you want to add your product to an existing listing, such as if you're doing wholesale or arbitrage? Again, navigate to the List Your Products page here, and you can choose from these other options to find the product listing. One way is to use the keywords option. Type in what your product is and then select it from the products that appear. Make sure it matches exactly. Or you can use the product ID option and enter the UPC barcode that's on the product and enter it here. The UPC barcode is usually on the package or the product itself. You can see here that if you want to sell these Xbox consoles, you need to get approval first. But this isn't always the case. Let's say you want to sell this elf skin makeup remover. It's selling well and has over 4,000 reviews, and there's a dozen other sellers selling this product. So let's try to sell them ourselves. Here's the listing here. And if we take a look at the limitations, you can see that you need to get approval to sell this brand. But also take a look here. You are not approved to list this product, and we are not currently accepting applications. Can you see now how important it is to do this first? That's why it's vital that you add your product to Amazon first before you buy anything, so that you can make sure you're allowed to sell it and not get stuck with products that you can't sell. Now, if it's an item that you can sell, like you can see here, then all you have to do is fill in the details in the offer section. All these fields should look familiar to you, and submit it. But remember, if you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, you're selling the exact same thing as everyone else, so everyone is basically competing on price. If you want to get sales, you'll need to sell it at a lower price than everyone else in order to get the buy box. You can see that this seller currently has the buy box, and they're selling it for this price here. So in the Your Price field, you'll have to set your price accordingly. And like before, choose your fulfillment option and set your prices here if you're selling in other marketplaces. And notice that you don't have to enter any more details other than what you see here. The listing owner, that's usually the brand themselves, they've already entered all the product details when they created the listing. All right, so now let's circle back and talk about how you can get brand approval. Most beginners make 3 mistakes when they're trying to get brand approved. The first mistake is this. Most people believe that you need to have a registered trademark in order to sell branded products on Amazon. Well, you don't. Most people don't know this, but there's actually 2 ways to get approval to sell your branded products on Amazon. One way is to get a registered trademark and then applying for Amazon's brand registry. This is actually the preferred method, but it costs money and can take more time. The other method, which I'm going to show you today, is called brand approval. And this is actually how I got started with my first product on Amazon. I didn't have a registered trademark, and I didn't want to list my product as generic. And this is the second mistake people make, and that's listing their products as generic. You don't want to do this. In fact, I highly suggest never listing your products as generic, as it's going to create a whole bunch of problems for you. For one, you won't be able to change it to your brand in the future, and if and when you do want to brand it, you'll have to start all over by creating an entirely new listing, and you'll end up losing all of the work that you've done. You'll lose all the reviews, sales history, listing rank, basically everything. So don't do it. Okay, so to get brand approval without a trademark, back on the page where you're adding your first product on Amazon's marketplace, here's the most important step. In the brand name field, here's where you need to enter your brand. This is the brand name that you want to use and get approved to sell under. Again, you don't need to have this brand name registered as a trademark. So in this case, I'm just gonna make up a name here. Cutest Cats. Now, make sure you do not check this option here. This product does not have a brand name. If you check this box, this indicates that you want to list this product as generic, and you do not want to do that, so don't check this box. Now, in the product ID field, here's where you need to enter the UPC barcode that you purchased. And I'll explain which barcodes you need and where to get them in the next section, but for now, enter the UPC barcode for your product here. Choose UPC, then click on Next. Now, notice that this error just popped up. Brand name approval required. You have entered a brand name that has not been approved by Amazon. You need to apply for approval to list products using this brand name. Now, here's where you need to go through the brand approval process so that you can use your brand on Amazon to sell your branded products. Once you've completed this approval process and you get approved, you can come back later to this listing and complete it. Now, if for whatever reason, when you create your new product listing and you do not see this error message prompting you to go through the approval process, then you'll have to get to the brand approval page in a slightly different way. On the top here, click on Help, scroll to the bottom and then click on My Issue Isn't Listed. Then type in error 5665 and click on Continue. And you'll see that the first option here is the recommended one. Fix brand protection errors. So click on it. And you can see that it's telling you to create a new listing and basically go through all of the steps that I just showed you earlier. And then when the brand approval error pops up, then go through the brand approval process. But since it didn't pop up, you can see it says, if you are unable to create the error or if the selling application is not available, click on Create a Case and provide the required information in the next step so we can assist you further. So in this case, click on the Create a Case button here. Now basically, this form that you're seeing here is the same form that you're normally going to see if the error message did pop up. So let's hop on back to the previous page and continue from there. Okay, so when this error pops up, click on Apply to Sell. All right, so now we're on the brand approval application form. You can see that it says here, this is a brand approval application for Cutest Cats. Brand names need to be approved by Amazon before they can be used by sellers. Again, if you do have a registered trademark, it says here, are you a brand owner and have a registered trademark or pending trademark? You may be eligible to enroll in brand registry. Please leave this workflow and enroll in brand registry instead. So if you do have a registered trademark, you do not go through this brand approval process. You need to enroll in brand registry, which will give you access to a bunch of more advanced selling features such as brand protection and A+ content. And I'll explain how to do that in the next section. Okay, so in this field, if you have a website for your brand already, you can enter the URL here. This will help your product and brand validity and make the whole approval process easier with Amazon if you do have a website. But as you can see here, it says that this is optional, so you don't need to have a website. So if you don't have one, don't go through the trouble of creating one. And with that said, in the next field here, choose the category for your product. You can use the search field like before, and it should find the best category for you. Again, if it's not the right category, choose the best category that fits the product you are trying to sell. It should match the one you chose earlier. All right, now onto the Submit Documents section. This is where you need to provide photos of your product with your branding on it to prove that you are the brand owner. You need to include an image of your brand's logo without other products in the picture, label the image files as your brand name, and upload at least 2 images of your brand's product and packaging. Sounds simple enough, right? But no, it isn't. You need to pay extremely close attention here because here's where so many people make the third biggest mistake, which gets their application denied, and that's not following the guidelines that you can see here. You can see that it says, documents must meet the following requirements. The branding on your product or packaging must match exactly. Now, this should be pretty self-explanatory. The branding that's on your product must match exactly what you entered in your application. But like it says here, the capitalization can be different. So for example, if I put Cutest Cats in my application, it can't say Cutest Cat or Cute Cats, okay? Next, the pictures are taken by you and items are handheld or placed on a table. Digitally altered or photoshopped images will result in your application being rejected. Again, these must be real life photos, not fake or photoshopped photos. Like photos of your product where you photoshopped your branding or logo on it. That's not gonna work. And I've found that it helps if you're actually holding the product rather than just having photos of it on a table. Just make sure your hands or fingers aren't covering your brand, the logo, or the barcode. Now, I probably shouldn't suggest this next option because so many people get it wrong and get their application rejected, but I've had many of my students get away with photoshopping their logos on their products. And they had to do this because they didn't have a product yet, or their manufacturer didn't have their production units ready for them to take real photos of it with their brand on it. Now, the litmus test here is if you do decide to Photoshop your brand on the product, the final image must look 100% real. Meaning if you showed the image to 100 people, none of them will be able to tell that it was Photoshopped. Now, I've seen so many people attempt to Photoshop it themselves or have a friend do it that has such poor Photoshopping skills that the final result was just terrible. So again, unless the final result is indistinguishable from real photos, do not attempt this. So if you're in this situation where you don't have a product to take real photos of, then ask your supplier if they can make a sample unit with your branding on it. But this is unlikely due to it being cost prohibitive, but it never hurts to ask. Or another option is if you're in the middle of manufacturing, have your manufacturer pull the first unit off the production line and expedite the shipping to you so that you can have the photos taken. Or a third method, and here's a secret tip which I've actually done in the past, is if you're having custom packaging done, such as a custom designed box, then have the box printed out and take photos of the box following these guidelines. And since you don't have to take photos of what's inside the box, you don't actually have to have your product inside it. Get it? Okay, so next, the branding, in this case, Cutest Cats, must be stamped, stitched, printed, or stuck on the product and or packaging so that it cannot be easily removed. What this means is that your branding or logo must be permanent. It can't be a sticker or a label. So like I said earlier, if you're designing a custom box, then your branding or logo must be printed on the box. If not, then printed or molded directly on your product, like you can see here in this example. Now, I also want to point out, as you can see here, the branding cannot be easily removed. The branding may not be manually written or temporarily attached to the packaging. However, in some categories, such as apparel or jewelry, branded hang tags or stickers are considered to be permanently affixed. So if you're selling clothing or jewelry, tags with your branding on it is okay. And last, the branding is not infringing on another brand's trademark. So this should be pretty obvious. The branding on your product must be your own and not someone else's intellectual property. So you can't have Apple's logo or someone else's branding on it. Okay, so checkmark all of these options to verify that you followed these guidelines, and then once you have the photos ready, you can upload them here. What I suggest is actually uploading 3 or 4 photos, not just the 1 or 2 like it suggests. Take photos from different angles and from several different sides of your product so they can see all around your product. And make sure the lighting is good and that it's in focus. And a pro tip here, although it doesn't say it's required, it seems to help with the verification process if you also show the UPC barcode in the photos. Okay, so if you do happen to get your application rejected, 99.9% of the time it's because of your photos. So if you do get rejected, take better photos and resubmit your application. But don't worry, just keep trying until you get accepted. Now moving on, if you have any additional comments that you'd like to include, you can add them here and enter your email address here. And although it says your phone number is optional, I suggest including it here so that if they do need to contact you, it's often so much easier to clarify any issues when you can speak to an agent directly over the phone. Then click on submit and wait. And be patient here. This process can take several days to over a week, sometimes even longer. And again, if you do get a notification that your application was denied, then follow the suggestions in the notification, fix the problems, and resubmit the application. And like I said before, 99% of the time, it's because of your photos. Now, once your brand is approved, you won't have to go through this process again. You can list any of your future products under that brand, regardless of what category you're choosing. But that doesn't mean you're allowed to sell in any category you want. You still have to get category approval if the category is gated. Okay, so once your brand is approved, you can go back and complete that new product listing that you started earlier. Okay, so that's how you get brand approval. Now, if you don't have a trademark, I highly recommend that you get one. By registering a trademark, you get access to a bunch of selling and marketing tools on Amazon, as well as brand protection, which I'll go over in a minute. Enrolling in brand registry is simple and painless only if you follow 5 specific steps in the proper order. And right now, Amazon is offering $50,000 worth of savings for new sellers that enroll in Amazon Brand Registry, and I'm going to show you how. But why would you even want to enroll in Brand Registry? Well, like I said, you can save up to $50,000 right now, but besides that, the biggest and probably the single most important benefit of brand registry is that it gives you brand protection. That means it prevents other sellers from infringing on your intellectual property and stealing your sales. In fact, brand registry stops 99% of those bad sellers. That means you have an active defense against hijackers and counterfeiters. And there's tons more benefits than that, and I'll tell you more about them later on in the video. Okay, so head on over to brandservices.amazon.com and click on Get Started. Now, as you can see, it says you can get started in 3 steps, and although getting enrolled in brand registry is an extremely simple process, there are some prerequisites in order for you to begin your application. So, as you can see here, in order to enroll in brand registry, you need to have these eligibility requirements. First, it says here that your brand must have an active registered trademark in each country where you wish to enroll or have a pending trademark application. So what that means is before you can enroll in brand registry, you have to first register for a trademark. And that's why I said that you need to do these 5 steps in a specific order, and I'll jump to step 1 in a second. Now, although your trademark application doesn't have to be active, you can enroll in brand registry if your application is still pending. That's a huge benefit because in the past, in order to enroll in brand registry, you had to wait until your trademark was approved and active, which can take 6 to 8 months or longer. However, now, once you've applied for your trademark and you get your application number, you can enroll in brand registry right away. So the first step you need to do is sign up as a seller on Amazon and get yourself a verified Amazon professional seller account. Okay, once you have a verified professional seller account, step number 2 is you need to create a new product listing, and you need to pay very close attention here. You cannot create a new product listing where the brand is listed as generic. You must create it using your brand. But in order to do that, step number 3 is you need to get brand approval. Again, this is a very important step that you must do first. You need to get brand approval by following the steps that I went over in the previous section as if you didn't have a trademark. You must do this first before you enroll in brand registry. Now, before moving on to step 4 and 5, where I'll show you exactly how to enroll in brand registry, you might be thinking to yourself that all of this sounds extremely complicated. Why would you go to all this time and effort just to enroll in brand registry? Well, let me take a minute to explain to you the benefits and importance of brand registry. As I said earlier, the biggest and probably the single most important benefit of brand registry is that it gives you brand protection. This is going to help you stop 99% of hijackers and counterfeiters who can completely destroy your sales. And not only that, brand registered sellers get access to A+ content. A+ content allows you to create detailed, information-rich, and themed product listings. For example, as you can see here, sellers that aren't enrolled in brand registry have low quality, boring product descriptions. However, once enrolled in brand registry with A+ content, you can create beautifully themed product descriptions like you can see here. You can include header images, infographics, more product details, and even product comparisons to promote your other products. In fact, by having A+ content, you can increase your conversion rate by as much as 3 to 5%. Now, if that's not enough, brand registry also has a huge host of other benefits. As a brand registered seller, you can get access to new seller incentives. So check this out. Get started with $50,000 in incentives. Get 10% back on your branded sales. That means you'll get 10% back on your first $50,000 in branded sales, then 5% back through your first year until you reach $1 million. That's a massive savings. Basically, you're cutting down your Amazon fees that you would normally have to pay, which is around 15%, down to 5%. You also get $200 in credits for Amazon Vine. That makes enrolling your product in Vine to get your first 30 reviews absolutely free. That's a huge advantage since reviews play such a huge role in giving your product social proof and increasing your sales. You also get a bunch of discounts and rebates, as you can see here. But it doesn't end there. 2 additional massive benefits you get is a $400 credit that you can apply to your FBA inbound placement service fee. Now, this is a new fee that Amazon has added whenever you're shipping your inventory to Amazon's warehouse when you're doing FBA. So that's a huge savings. And the second massive benefit is you get a brand referral bonus. That means if you drive traffic from outside of Amazon, Amazon will reduce your referral fee by 10%. They're offering you this huge discount because you did all of the work to make the sale. Amazon didn't have to do anything to put your product in front of the buyer. That's another massive savings, again dropping the referral fee from 15% down to 5%. You also get access to branded PPC advertising avenues. So in addition to running sponsored product ads, You can also run sponsored branded ads. These are the ads that you can see at the very top of the search results where you can showcase your brand and multiple products. You can also create your very own brand store on Amazon. It's like having your very own custom branded website on Amazon where shoppers can find more information about your brand and product lines. And best of all, shoppers won't see any of your competitors on your branded store. You also get access to create virtual bundles, allowing you to bundle multiple ASINs together without you having to pre-package them as bundles before shipping them to Amazon. You can also create subscribe and save deals. This is where shoppers can get a deal on their purchase and automatically get refills sent to them on a regularly scheduled basis, increasing your sales without any extra effort or expense from you. You also get access to so many more benefits than I have time to mention here, but I'll mention one last one here, which is brand analytics. The biggest benefit here is you get access to Amazon search term reports. So unlike the search term reports you get from your PPC ad reports, where you can only find out what people are searching for in your PPC campaigns, with Amazon search term reports, you can now see what shoppers are searching for outside of just your PPC campaigns. Now that's a massive game changer to optimizing your sales strategies and boosting your sales. Now with that said, it should go without saying that if you're serious about building your business on Amazon, you absolutely need to enroll in Brand Registry. So moving on, once you have a verified seller account and you've created a product listing with your approved brand, you can continue on to step 4, registering your trademark. Now, registering your trademark is actually a pretty straightforward process. You can actually apply yourself by going to USPTO.gov and follow the step-by-step instructions that you can see here. Now, of course, when you apply for your trademark, you're going to need a brand that you want to register. You can register either the name of your brand, meaning the text form or actual words that make up your brand, or you can register the mark or logo that represents your brand. Or you can register them both. You can see that it says here, the trademark must be in the form of a text-based mark or word mark, or an image-based mark with words, letters, or numbers, a design mark. What that means is if, for example, your brand is Pepsi or Target, you can register the text form of your brand, which is just the letters or words that make up the brand. Or you can register the logo or image that represents your brand, or both. Now, what I suggest is registering both at the same time, just so that you can have both with brand protection and save time and money by not having to update your trademark later on in the future. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the trademark application process can take 6 to 8 months or longer to get approved since USPTO is so backed up. You can see here that if you apply today, they're currently processing applications that were submitted between August 31st, 2023 and September 14th, 2023. Now, applying for your trademark isn't expensive. As you can see here, it only costs $250 per class. However, as I've shown you earlier, with all of the incentives, discounts, and rebates that you get, you're essentially getting this for free. And who doesn't like free? Now, one thing to note, if you do decide to apply for the trademark on your own and you end up messing up the application, it will delay your application and can result in you having to pay penalty fees. So if you're not comfortable with doing it yourself, Amazon does have a service called IP Accelerator where you can hire a vetted law firm to do it for you. You can also find a lawyer on Fiverr.com or LegalZoom.com, or you can even find someone local to you. Just do a Google search. Now, hiring someone will typically cost around $400 to $800 on top of that registration fee. So explore your options and choose the best option for you. So once you've applied for your trademark, you'll get an application number right away. And once you have your registration number, you can move forward with step number 5, enrolling in Brand Registry. So scroll on to the bottom here and click on Enroll Now, and let's begin. All right, now the first step you're going to see here is enroll your brand on the left, or if you haven't registered your trademark yet, you can register using the IP Accelerator program, which I went over earlier. So assuming you've done that, or you've registered your trademark yourself already, click on Enroll Your Brand. All right, so now as you can see here, we're on the first step of 3. The first thing you need to do is enter your brand name here. Now, this is the brand name that you trademarked, not the Amazon store name or your business name. It needs to match exactly what you registered on your trademark application. Now, take note that it also says here, this includes the preferred form of capitalization for your brand name. Now, here's where you can upload a brand logo. And this doesn't have to be the mark that you registered on your trademark application, especially if you didn't. But take note, the logo must represent your brand and should fill the entire image or be on a white or transparent background. If you don't have a logo, upload a high-resolution image of your brand name. Do not upload images of your product. Okay, now select the trademark office that you registered with. In most cases, you're going to register through USPTO.gov, so choose United States. Then enter the trademark registration number that you received when you filed the application. Now, upload the design mark or logo that you registered. You can see here that it says the image should be an exact match to the design mark image on the trademark record and should not be used to upload the trademark certificate. Okay, and next, you need to specify if you own the trademark that you're submitting. If you do own the trademark, and in most cases we do, select the first option here. If you don't own the trademark, then choose one of the other two options that apply here. Now, upload a copy of the trademark registration certificate, filing receipt, filing notice, filing certificate, or e-filing of the application that you received here. Okay, now choose the category that your product falls under. Make sure you select all of the categories that apply. Now, since you've already created a branded product listing in step 2, enter the ASIN here. You can find the ASIN from the Manage Inventory page under the product name. It starts with a B0. If you have more than one branded product listing, then you can also add them here. Next, and this is optional, if you have a website for your brand, you can enter the URL here. If you don't have one, that's not a problem, so don't go through the trouble of creating one. Having one just helps with verifying that you are the brand owner. Now, if you're selling your product on other websites or marketplaces like eBay or Walmart, you can enter the URLs here. Again, this is also optional. All right, and in this last step here, it's very important that you do this properly. You need to upload at least one photo of your product that clearly shows your brand permanently affixed to it. Your branding needs to be either on the product itself or on the packaging. Now, it can't be photoshopped or be a sticker or label. And you can read the exact requirements by clicking on this link here. Now, if you don't have your product yet, which most beginners don't, then what you can do is ask your supplier if they can make a sample unit with your branding on it. However, this might not be possible since it's most likely cost prohibitive, but it never hurts to ask. Or if you're in the middle of manufacturing, have your manufacturer pull the first unit off the production line and expedite the shipping to you so that you can have the photos taken. Or a third method, and here's a little secret tip, which I've actually done in the past, is if you're having custom packaging done, such as a custom designed box, then have the box printed out and take photos of the box following these guidelines. And since you don't have to take photos of what's inside the box, you don't actually have to have the product inside. Got it? Okay, so upload at least one photo, and I suggest actually uploading 2 or 3. And once you've done that, click on Next. All right, now on to step 2. You need to choose whether you're a seller or a vendor. And in most cases, we're all sellers of the brand that we're enrolling, so choose seller. Then select the Amazon seller account that you're enrolling the brand for. And since you own the trademark, choose Yes here. Okay, we need to enter our business details here. So in the first field, enter your business name. Make sure it matches exactly how your business name is registered. Then choose the country where your business is registered in. So in my case, I'm going to choose United States. Now choose the state your business is registered in. Then enter the city and zip code. Then choose the type of identifier you want to enter and then enter that number here. You should be able to find these details on your business license. Then click Next. Okay, now in the final step, we need to choose how we're currently manufacturing and distributing our products. In the first field, for most of us, we're doing private label and we're manufacturing our own products with a manufacturer from overseas, like in China. So choose I have my own manufacturing. Now, since we're not actually manufacturing the products ourselves, we're hiring a third party to make them for us. You don't need to upload anything here. Now, upload a copy of your invoice. This is the invoice you would have received from your supplier or manufacturer proving that you bought and paid for your inventory. A pro forma invoice or a receipt will not work here. It must be an actual invoice. You can see that it says, upload a copy of any recent sourcing, manufacturing, supply invoice, one or more, published in the last 6 months, which includes one or more of the brand's product names. So make sure the invoice is within the last 6 months and shows your branded product on it. Okay, and now for most of us, we're selling the products ourselves. We're not wholesaling the products to distributors, so choose No here. And since we chose No, we do not need to fill this field in here. And last, does your brand license trademarks to others who manufacture products associated with your intellectual property? And again, for most of us, we're selling the products ourselves. we're not licensing it to other sellers or manufacturers. For example, Nintendo owns the Mario Brothers brand and trademark, and they license it to other sellers and manufacturers to make Mario Brothers products and merchandise. We're not doing that, so choose no. And once you've done that, click submit and wait. The approval process usually only takes around 4 to 7 days, but it can take longer. So check up on it every few days or weeks if it takes longer. And in some rare instances, you may need to reapply. But once you're approved, don't forget to take advantage of all the new seller incentives. All right, now moving on to one of the most confusing topics for beginners, let's talk about barcodes. Which barcodes do you need? How many? UPC, EAN, FNSKU? Where do you buy them from? These are all common questions people new to selling on Amazon have, especially if you're selling one product, hundreds of the same product, more than one product, variations of a product, and multiple products in a bundle. So in this video, I'm going to clear all of this up for you so you can stay compliant and avoid any problems selling on Amazon. All right, first let's talk about what the Amazon barcode requirements are. If you're selling on Amazon, regardless if you're doing FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon, where Amazon is storing all of your inventory, handling all of the order fulfillment and the shipping and handling for you, or if you're doing FBM, which is where you're storing your own inventory, handling all of the order fulfillment and the shipping and handling yourself, or regardless if you're selling wholesale, arbitrage, or private label products, Amazon requires all of your products to have a barcode on it. If we take a look at the Amazon barcode guidelines page here, you can see that it says, fulfillment by Amazon uses barcodes to identify and track inventory throughout the fulfillment process. Each item that you send to an Amazon fulfillment center requires a barcode. But that doesn't mean that if you're not doing fulfillment by Amazon that you don't need a barcode, and I'll explain this in a minute. Now, in order for your products to meet the Amazon barcode requirement, you need to have one of the following barcodes on your product. You can use a manufacturer barcode such as a UPC, EAN, JAN, or ISBN, or the Amazon barcode, which is also referred to as the FNSKU or FNSKU. There's a third barcode called the transparency barcode, and this is slightly different than the other two, and I'll talk about how this one works in a minute, but the two main types you need to use is either the manufacturer barcode or the Amazon barcode. Okay, so what is a manufacturer barcode? A manufacturer barcode, which can be a UPC, EAN, JAN, or ISBN, is something that I'm sure you've all seen before. It's found on every product and looks something like this. This is what's being scanned at retail stores when you check out to pay for something whenever you're buying a product. This code identifies the item and the price so that the store knows what to charge you and to keep track of their inventory. Each product sold in retail stores around the world must have a unique barcode. Because obviously, if more than one product had the same barcode, how would the store distinguish between the two? Think of the barcode as a product's social security or VIN number that's found on cars. No two people have the same social security number, and no two cars around the world have the same VIN. So if you're selling wholesale or arbitrage products, you're selling other manufacturers' products like Xboxes or Nike shoes, so they're already going to have a UPC barcode printed on the box or package. And these barcodes are standardized globally, meaning a UPC for a product like an Xbox game console. Every Xbox console will have the same barcode on it, and it's recognized worldwide no matter where it's scanned. However, if you're selling private label products, meaning you're selling your own branded products that are being manufactured by you, then your products won't have a UPC barcode, so you'll need to buy them and have them printed on the package, and I'll explain how this works in a minute. Now, similarly, the Amazon barcode, which is also called the FNSKU, which stands for Fulfillment Network Stock Keeping Unit, it's also used to track products. However, it's only used for products that are sold with FBA in Amazon's marketplaces. It looks something like this, and the FNSKU is only recognized internally by Amazon, which means if you try to scan the FNSKU at a retail store like Costco or Walmart, it's not going to work. So why does Amazon's guidelines list these two types of barcodes, and which one should you use? Well, if we take a look back at the guidelines, it says, by default, Amazon will use the manufacturer barcode to track eligible inventory throughout the fulfillment process unless you change the barcode setting. What this means is, if you leave the default setting, your inventory will be tracked using the UPC or EAN barcode. But there's a problem with using this method that most beginners don't realize. Like I mentioned earlier with the Xbox console, Every Xbox console will have the same barcode on it. So if you're selling an Xbox and 10 other people are selling the same Xbox, if you send your inventory to Amazon to be sold with FBA, then all of your inventory with all 10 sellers will get mixed together. The problem with this is that you no longer have any control over the quality or the condition of the product being shipped to your buyer. You may have sent in Xboxes that are in perfect mint condition, but another seller could have sent in inventory that's damaged or the package is crushed or dented. And this can be a huge problem if you're doing private label, since how selling on Amazon works is everyone selling the exact same product sells their inventory on the same listing. And if you're selling your own private label products and another seller sends in damaged products to sell on your listing, you'll get bad reviews. Believe me, it happens. So if you're following me, you want your inventory to be separated from any other inventory that gets shipped in. Thankfully, there is a way to do that. In order to keep your inventory separate, even if you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, instead of using the manufacturer barcode, which is the default setting, you can switch to using the Amazon barcode or the FNSKU. You can see here that it says, Amazon barcodes must be applied to all products that are not tracked using the manufacturer barcode. Okay, so that might have been a little confusing, so let me summarize. What I suggest is regardless if you're doing wholesale, arbitrage, or private label, always use the Amazon barcode or FNSKU so that your inventory is kept separate from everyone else's. Okay, so now that you understand what the difference is between the UPC and FNSKU and why you should always use the FNSKU, how do you need to put the barcodes on your products? If we take a look at the packaging requirements, you can see here that it says, any FNSKU you use on a unit must be unique and must correspond to one unique product. For example, each assortment type, such as size or color, must have a different FNSKU. This is like the example I mentioned earlier with the social security number and VIN numbers. Every product needs to have its own unique barcode, and I'll show you exactly how this works in a minute. Each unit must have an exterior scannable barcode or label, which includes a scannable barcode and the corresponding human readable numbers that is easily accessible. This means that the barcode needs to be on the outermost packaging of your product, just like at the store, so someone can quickly and easily find it and scan it. It can't go on the inside or be covered by anything. Remove, cover, or render unscannable any existing scannable barcodes on the outside of shipping boxes. For example, cover existing barcodes with opaque tape or use a black felt tip marker to render the barcode unscannable. This prevents the incorrect barcode from being accidentally scanned during the receiving process. Now, this should be pretty self-explanatory. Only one barcode can be visible on your product. So if you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, you need to cover up the existing UPC barcode if you're going to switch to the FNSKU barcode. The simplest and easiest way is to just cover the original UPC barcode with the new FNSKU barcode label sticker. All right, so now that we've covered what the different types of barcodes are, which barcode to use and where you need to place them, the next question is, where do you get a UPC barcode or FNSKU? Well, first, you can't get the FNSKU barcode without a UPC barcode, and I'll explain that in a second. If you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, like I said earlier, the products you purchase are already going to have the manufacturer's barcode or UPC printed on it, so you don't need to worry about buying a barcode or putting the barcode on the product. To list your inventory for sale on Amazon, you can just type in the UPC barcode that's on the product to pull up the original product listing and add your inventory and set your price. However, if you're doing private label like I do, then you're selling your own branded products, so you're the manufacturer. And unlike wholesale or arbitrage where you're selling the same product as someone else, so you're selling your inventory on an existing Amazon listing, in order to sell your product on Amazon, you need to create your own product listing. And in order to create your own product listing, you need to buy a UPC barcode for your product because your product isn't going to have a UPC barcode from your manufacturer. Now, if you want to learn how to add your product to sell on Amazon, I'll leave a link to a video down in the description below. Okay, so if you're doing private label and you need to buy a UPC barcode, where do you buy it from? Now, pay close attention here because if you don't follow this guideline, you're putting your account at risk. If we take a look at the barcode policy on Amazon, we can see that it says here, we verify the authenticity of product UPCs by checking the GS1 database. UPCs that do not match the information provided by GS1 will be considered invalid. We recommend obtaining your UPCs directly from GS1 and not from other third parties selling UPC licenses to ensure the appropriate information is reflected in the GS1 database. And you can also see here that it says, if you do not buy directly from GS1, all invalid product UPC listings will be removed and may result in your ASIN creation and selling privileges being temporarily or permanently removed. So, although it may be tempting, do not buy your UPC barcodes from third-party websites. Only buy directly from GS1. It's not worth the risk, especially since GS1 now offers individual barcodes for only $30. And for the same reason, I don't suggest trying to save money by getting a GTIN exemption. It's not worth the hassle, especially since a GTIN exemption needs to be continually renewed every 6 months. Just buy a GS1 barcode for $30 and save yourself the hassle. Okay, I know what some of you are thinking. $30 is still pretty expensive for just one barcode. How many barcodes do you need to buy? And this is where a lot of beginners get confused, so I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible to understand. When you're buying barcodes, there are 4 possible scenarios. The first is if you're selling a single item. For example, let's say you're selling this blue smash the like button pillow. The single blue pillow is considered 1 unit, and every unit that you sell that's 100% identical to this blue pillow will use the same barcode. And when I say identical, I literally mean they are exactly the same product. If you had a bunch of them, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. So in this scenario, it doesn't matter if you have 1 unit for sale or 10,000 units, they all use the same UPC barcode. Therefore, you only need to buy 1 UPC barcode. Does that make sense? Every product that is exactly the same will use the same barcode. Now, in the second scenario, let's say you want to sell variations of the same product. So let's say you want to sell the blue like pillow and a red like pillow. Since these are 2 different pillows and you plan to sell them separately, each pillow will need a different UPC barcode. Therefore, you'll need to buy 2 UPC barcodes, one for the blue pillow and another one for the red pillow. All the blue pillows will use one barcode and all the red pillows will use the other barcode. This is also true if you're only selling the blue like pillow but in different sizes. Each size is a completely different product even though they have the same design. So if you have a small pillow and a large version of the pillow, these are 2 different variations, so you need 2 barcodes. Now, the third scenario is if you're selling different products. This is the same process as variations. So for example, if you're selling the like pillow and you also want to sell a subscribe pillow, and you also want to sell a follow pillow, these are 3 different products, so you'll need 3 UPC barcodes. With me so far? Now, in the fourth scenario, and this is the most confusing for new sellers, what if you want to sell a package or a bundle of products? For example, let's say you want to sell a pack of 3 like pillows. Well, the entire pack or bundle is considered 1 unit. Someone that buys the pack or bundle, they're getting all 3 pillows, so it's considered 1 unit. It doesn't matter how many items are included inside the pack or bundle, it's still considered 1 unit. So you only need to buy 1 barcode. If you want to sell a pack of 3 blue pillows and also sell a pack of all 3 pillows, then you'll need to buy 2 UPC barcodes. One for the 3 pack of like pillows and one for the 3 pack of different pillows. Make sense? So to bring this all together, let me show you one more example. Let's say you want to sell this smash the like button shirt and this subscribe shirt separately. You have 3 different sizes of each shirt, small, medium, and large. You have a total of 60 shirts to sell, 30 for each shirt and 10 of each size. How many barcodes do you need to buy? If you said 6 barcodes, then you're right. Now, I also created this barcode flowchart to help you figure out how many barcodes you need, depending on how you're selling on Amazon and what you're selling. You can download this flowchart for free on my website, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Okay, so once you've purchased your UPC barcodes, you need them in order to create a product listing. You'll need to assign a barcode to the new listing like you can see here. And once you've assigned it, that UPC barcode can never be reused again on a different product. And one thing to note, in some cases when you enter your new UPC barcode here, you might run into an error where it doesn't accept the barcode. In this situation, if you just purchased the UPC barcode from the GS1 website, you may need to wait 24 to 72 hours for the GS1 database to update before you can use the new barcode to create your new product listing. Okay, so now that you know how many barcodes you need to buy, where do you download the barcode to put it on your product? Again, if you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, your product will already have the UPC barcode on it. However, if you're doing private label and you purchased your UPC barcodes from GS1, you'll get a PDF of the barcode that looks like this. You'll need to have this printed on the product packaging or printed onto a sticker label to put on your products. Now, if you want to use the FNSKU barcode like I suggest, you don't buy the FNSKU. The FNSKU is automatically assigned to each product once you've added it to the Amazon Marketplace. Now, in order for you to use the FNSKU instead of the default UPC barcode, you'll need to change the barcode setting in Seller Central to use the Amazon barcode. Log into Seller Central, click on Settings, Fulfillment by Amazon, scroll down to FBA Product Barcode Preference, click Edit, and change it from Manufacturer Barcode to Amazon Barcode. Now, if you navigate to the Inventory Management page in Seller Central, and next to your listing, if you click on the drop-down menu here, you can choose Print Item Labels to download the FNSKU label. You can save it as a PDF and email this to your package designer or manufacturer to have them put it on your product. And just like the UPC barcode, no two products will ever use the same FNSKU. The blue Like pillow will have its own FNSKU and the Subscribe pillow will have a different FNSKU. And the FNSKU will never change for the lifetime of you selling the product on Amazon. Okay, and one thing I want to point out, you can see here that it says Amazon barcodes, such as FNSKU labels that start with an X. Take note because when you switch to using the Amazon barcode, if you download the FNSKU label and you notice that the barcode number starts with a B0, like you can see here, that's your product's ASIN, not the FNSKU. The FNSKU would look like this. Notice it starts with an X. If you encounter this, then you can change it from the ASIN to an FNSKU by following the steps on this page here. Basically, you can delete the listing you've already created and create a new one, but make sure to use the same UPC barcode that you did before. Or you can add a new condition by following the steps here. And once you've done that, when you download the Amazon barcode, it should now start with an X instead, and I'll leave a link to this page down in the description below. All right, now remember, if your product already has a barcode on it, you'll need to cover it up so that only one barcode is visible. So if you're going to use the FNSKU, just cover up the UPC with the FNSKU sticker. And a pro tip, if you plan to sell your product at brick and mortar stores like Walmart or Target, where they're going to require your products to have the UPC barcode on them, and you also plan to sell it on Amazon, instead of having to create two different package designs, one with the UPC barcode and another with the Amazon barcode, you can save some money by designing your product packaging with the UPC on it so that the UPC is already printed on the original product. This way, for the units that you're shipping to Amazon to sell on Amazon, you can simply cover up that UPC barcode with the FNSKU label. Make sense? Now, also take note that requiring a barcode on your products is only necessary if you're doing FBA, meaning you're shipping your inventory to Amazon's warehouse. If you're doing FBM, meaning you're shipping your products directly to your customers yourself, then your products don't need to have any barcodes printed on them since Amazon isn't tracking your inventory and they're never going to see or handle your inventory. But you still need to buy a UPC barcode to create your Amazon listing though. Now, getting the proper barcodes and putting them on your product is just one small part of Amazon's extensive packaging and labeling requirements. Your products need to also have other labels on them and meet specific packaging requirements. So to make sure you're doing that correctly, this video right over here will show you how to properly package and label your products for FBA.